wanted to show this story because this is a story that I just happened to see because I'm subscribed to the Real News Network, and this is about a woman who was sharing her story about being sexually abused for repairs in public housing. And people are going to say that why would she go ahead and do that? Because let's say if she didn't, is this bad with public housing? If she didn't, she could possibly suffer eviction. They could put her out. What money does she have to fight them? She was evicted wrongfully. And it's very hard for people who have to look for public housing to find suitable housing. Some people just have to accept what they can get, which is usually not a lot. And you're dealing with slumlords. Beyond her story, which her story is important, I wanted to scroll down to the bottom of this report and just show what was being said about this story and about this woman.
Covered the ongoing scandal of maintenance workers asking for sex in exchange for repairs in Baltimore public housing. Like this moment when Tanita Wilson, a woman who told her story of abuse to the Real News, broke down. Tanita was overwhelmed with emotion after going public with her ordeal.
Just y'all presence being here is good enough for me.
How a maintenance worker installed a generator in her kitchen, then asked for money she didn't have to pay, and then forced her to have sex to settle the bill.
She just stated that we can clear the bill up if you perform a sexual act with me.
Her story went viral, and today she talked about the experience and the exhausting emotions of recounting her pain to people she doesn't know.
To me, I felt liberated. It made me feel stronger than what I actually was. It made me feel like my silence was actually hindering me, and it made me feel good. I feel much better now that I've been able to tell someone else my situation.
But Tanita is not alone. This is Gilmore Homes, where Freddie Gray lived and died while in police custody. But there's been another cry for help here, this time from their women. At the city-run Gilmore Homes, over half a dozen women came forward alleging that they were asked by maintenance workers to exchange sex for repairs.
Well, he asked me to send him some pictures, and I asked him pictures of my feet. He wanted pictures of my pedicured feet. I felt invaded. I felt disrespected. I let him know I felt disrespected because I wanted to know what made him think just because he asked for pictures of my feet that he should get them.
And prompting the city to settle a lawsuit for $8 million.
And to be in a situation where these women are subjected to life-threatening conditions unless they sleep with maintenance men who we pay with our tax dollars is just simply not acceptable.
Both there and at Perkins Homes, where Tanita lives, it has been difficult for me, both as a woman and a journalist, to maintain an arm's length. I've talked to many women, and not just about sexual harassment, but about being trapped in poverty, poor living conditions, and most of all, their feeling of isolation.
It's been really hard down here. I had problems and stuff like down here where, we all live in this community trying to have our children caring for one another, being in the areas and trying to make it better for the kids and stuff. And it's just been so much of things going on and happening that I don't even feel safe anymore down here.
A condition made worse by Tanita's story, because to this day she doesn't know the outcome of her complaint or if that maintenance worker is still employed by the city.
It seems to me like they wanted to make it look like an isolated incident. We have cleaned it up and everything is okay, but they never check for any other project developments to see if this was occurring.
I asked Housing several times about her investigation, and 15 more other complaints in 2016 we uncovered. But they say state law dictates that cases remain secret because they involve city workers. For now, Tanita says she takes strength from the people she met online who watched her story, and holds out hope that someday, somehow, she will find a new home and perhaps a better life where the day-to-day struggle to survive is not so heartbreaking.
My next step is to relocate, move out of housing, period. Find me a residential home to live in, a better neighborhood to live in with my children. I'm no longer going to ask them for help.
This is Taya Graham and Stephen Janis reporting for the Real News Network in Baltimore City, Maryland.
I've worked in the public assistant sector for over 2 years, and this is true. There was an incident where there was a woman in the office, and she got really mad and she stormed out because this was a day where you could just walk in and talk to someone. And she basically, one of the men there, she was like, "Don't say that to me, don't touch me." And they tried to act like she was causing a scene. There was nothing going on. This woman was not frantic when she came in. Of course, people were irritated because they had to wait, but this woman did not do anything, but she basically told him to not to say what he was saying to her and to not to touch her, and she stormed out. And they tried to laugh it off as if, she was just being an angry black woman. See, this is what these stereotypes do. And now you have women being sexually assaulted and their livelihood threatened because these predators understand that it's been put out there on social media and media so much that there's no protection for the women and children. So the wolves are coming to prey on the women and children. And this person is being sarcastic by saying the joys of government run anything. This person said as if the public sector is free of sex violence, of course. And this person said I was being sarcastic as if people didn't know that. Now, this is what they're saying about essentially rape. Does the woman have it on video? Might as well show it. But then again, most likely the mainstream media will pick it up as a cool new thing to do and start promoting it for all the pretty housewives to do. The deep state will probably push the practice, advising older women who are not so attractive to teach their little daughters to do this, how to get things fixed in their shithole apartment. Geez. So that sounds like a disgusting Trump voter. And people want to sit up here and talk about the government. This had nothing to do with the government because it's public housing. They want to have this conversation. I said I didn't expect too much from, the Trump voters because they don't care about black life. Thank you all for following up on this heartbreaking and largely untold story. Poor single black women are struggling with extremely vulnerable conditions, as well as our children, historically shunned and unheeded calls and cries for help and trouble factors, exasperating the impoverished loss of our community and sense of belonging. And this person said, I would suggest that the first step is to stop crying for help. It just a degenerate excuse for a human being, worthless. And these same dumbass people, it's just dumbasses here talking. And then down here you see this as black women are strong and independent. So this is going to come up again because, like I said, that line has been played out for a long time, and I swear they're taking on the likeness of their white Jesus, which is the white man, and they're being towards black women the way white men are towards white women, which has gotten white men into all the trouble they're in now. with their women steadily chipping away at them, going to take them down and end up taking down the whole damn community. But the black men want to continue in their footsteps. So this line was not started by saying, you know what, a woman woke up one day, she had a husband who was dedicated to her and the children. He was working, and she woke up one day on a Saturday and said, F you, F the kids, I'm taking the kids with me. I don't want to be in this house with you. I don't want to be with you. The man was a good man, and she said, forget it, I'm finna go to a thug, which they like to say, or I'm finna leave. Didn't happen. The strong and independent means that, one, you left your child and you left me to the wolves. So I'm going to have to be strong and independent to raise this child the best way that I can and to keep us afloat and to survive, because you were too bitch ass to stay and take care of your woman and your child. The strong and independent part taught to the younger women, to me especially by my mother, was you cannot rely on these males. They're not reliable. You could end up being out on the streets. You could end up in a very hard situation. So you should make sure that you have some type of skill set. You should make sure that you have education, that you should be able to take care of yourself if something goes wrong in a relationship, in a marriage, that you aren't just 100% relied on this man who could potentially fail you. So that's where that strong and independent comes from when it's pushed to women. It's you have to look out for yourself, because there's a good chance that this man may not be loyal. He may not have honor. He could leave you for another woman. He could leave you with children. These are real conversations that black women have with their daughters. These are real life things that you have to think about. You could end up divorced. Any messed up thing could happen. And you have to be able to take care of yourself and the children, because it's going to come down on your shoulders, because they can get up and walk out the door at any time, because this was the MO. This is how they were seen. Black women were not pushing them out of the door. They were making the decision to walk in the door, and they were walking in the door of multiple different women as well. And these were not thugs. These were not hood boys. These were not dope boys. These were regular men, regular jobs. My father, he never been to jail, never sold drugs, never was a thug, worked all his life. And he did that. So that's where that comes from. And they try and use that against women. It's so lame and played out. And then this person said, your broke ass had nothing else to offer, and he did a favor. If you didn't like what he suggested, then just say no, thank you, and find another way to get your shit repaired. Nobody held you down or put a gun to your head and forced you. You were given a choice and you said yes. That is disgusting. So this person here, under the name of Black Ocean, could be a predator, because this person seems to be okay with rape. And of course, it's always some random name with some random picture with no content of somebody who they strongly want to say nasty shit and get their nasty stuff out of them, that they will create a whole channel, Gmail, all that, just to say something like this. It's disgusting. But this dumbass idiot doesn't understand that if she's living in public housing, certain stuff is supposed to be repaired. It's supposed to be working, and that is on the owners of the apartment to have that working. So she may have been even nervous and scared that she was looking at the prices of other places and she could be kicked out. You never know. These people can have keys to inside your home. They could rob you. They could do anything. He could have just came in and raped her. but saying you had a choice to do it or not. That is the most disgusting, sick shit that I've ever heard. And this is why I wanted to do this video, is to show this. And this person said it's all a lie. No man will want head from that woman. I'd stick it in a shop vacuum before going near her, which is a fucking lie. Usually someone who's saying that is the main one who would do something like that. And then here we go with this person. Where are all the feminists? Why is it the feminist movement never help or support black women? Because it's all based on lies. Where is the Me Too movement on this? She is a woman too. Thousands of black women march in solidarity with white women. In the Women's March about things like this, let's see if they'll show their sisters the same support. Now, this woman never said she marched. This woman never said she's a feminist, but they're saying these things because they're weak. They are docile and they can't do anything to protect their women and community. They're that scared. They're that weak. Black women were not marching in solidarity with white women because you can't have two things exist at once because they're contradicting each other. It's either one is a lie and one is true. You can't have white women saying, where are the black women at, if the black women are there in the march. It's a lie. When black women speak about certain things on a female level, they try and label you as a feminist when you talk about abuse, when you talk about domestic violence, when you talk about rape, when you talk about what goes on with black women within the community at the hands of their own men. And because they don't want to hear about it, because they may be the perpetrator, or they know someone, good friend or family member, who is a predator, they don't want to speak on it. They don't like to hear it, and they're not going to tell the truth. Not all, but there's a lot of them who they don't like it when black women start talking about the things that go on in the community. They want to label you as feminist or a part of a group, and this had nothing to do with that. And then this dumb ass said something like hoochie mouth. And this is why they feel emboldened to do what they do, because they know, like, the women and children, they have no protection. So, you know, they can be predators on black women and black children. Okay, and this person said these maintenance people lack professionalism. If they knew they were being paid well for their job they are doing, they would take pride in their work and not do this kind of stuff. So the rapist and the sexual predator is the victim here, because they weren't being paid well enough and they wouldn't have been pushed to do this, is basically what this sicko is saying. There's a lot of sick ass people out here. The women lack morals. She knew she didn't have the money to pay before he worked. He has a family to feed, and stiffing him on the bill should send her to jail. It is theft. I guarantee that it was her idea to give sexual favor in exchange for repair. I don't know what the hell he was trying to say here. I think my left nut, like I said, this is a disgusting excuse for a human being. She is a local hooker. Real news needs to represent all facts before trying to use emotion to block them. So he knows this for sure. He has never set eyes on this woman. He doesn't even live in the state where this woman is. He probably isn't even close, but he knows this woman is a local hooker, that she does not have any morals. And you see the brush that the woman is being painted with here. This is absolutely disgusting. And I know this person doesn't have anything on their channel. Exactly. And this person actually said something that's correct. Did the worker have the right to give her the bill or not? Because that's one thing that people will do. Living in public housing, there's things that the actual renter has to take care of depending on if they're the cause of it. But usually a lot of stuff like what she said that had to be fixed, that is usually covered by the owner. I just wanted to go over this story to read the comments underneath there, because it was very disgusting how people are talking about these women. These women are victims of sexual assault, and they're talking about these women are ugly. There is nothing ugly about this woman. This woman is actually quite beautiful. Her skin is smooth. She's a pretty woman, and they're lying. It's disgusting. And then somebody even said that basically she brought it on herself. She brought the sexual assault on herself. And you wonder why Black women will join certain movements. It's to basically scream out loud, stop abusing me. If you have like a bunch of men running around with that predator mindset, of course you're going to have women who are trying to speak out or join an organization so they can speak out about the pain that they're experiencing. But not once had this woman stated that she was a part of a movement. You know, they're just using these disgusting stereotypes. And this just shows an example of what it says in the Bible. And I just want to leave on that note. And it says here in 2 Timothy 3 that this know also that in the last days peril time shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boastful, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded. And it also speaks about the women who are the same. So everything that I listed there, I mean, you can see it underneath the comment section of a video that was talking about sexual abuse. And so I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think about this video and also about the comments underneath from these, I'm hard pressed to call them human beings. But I'll see you in the next one.